What's going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome back to Warframe. Hi. So we have the Wisp, the Gyre, the Qorvex, and the Koumei augments. So Koumei's the interesting one. As you see by the numbers, you can kind of see where my playful use of these frames is. Koumei is pretty much at the bottom for me. And I really have to kind of preface the fact that it's not because I think Koumei is a bad frame. It's actually further from the truth. I think Koumei has some really interesting features. Most specifically, the obvious one, pulling decrees. I don't know why my shit isn't working. So, like, I usually run kind of this silly-ass little breach surge setup. Okay? That's just kind of what I run. Now, I just threw this bullshit together. Okay? There is no rhyme or reason behind this delayed ass augment setup. Aside from it functions, you know, it's the base kit. That's about it though. Like, there's nothing amazing about this build. This was actually just a test build that I had thrown together when Koumei first came out, and obviously renamed it to Augment because we got the Ominkuji's Fortune, which is quite interesting. And it makes Koumei's best ability, which is her second ability, Ominkuji, which is the decrees. The decrees on an endurance level, and that's where, for me, Koumei kind of falls off, because I kind of like doing quick, fast missions, maybe 30 minutes in a mission, something like that. You know, I don't like doing long endurance runs. And Koumei's big prime buff is getting decree after decree after decree rapidly, or as rapidly as possible, to really buff the bejesus out of her. And I have seen many of people sharing level cap videos on Facebook and Reddit and shit, and I understand it. Like, I really do. This has got to be getting any Koumei lover an absolute chub, okay? Because you know, like, the function behind Ominkuji is that there is 150-second cooldown between the, you know, the abilities of getting decrees. So basically you have to wait 150 seconds before you can cast the second ability again to do a decree challenge. That really sucks. This, because there's a little thing that pops up down at the bottom right-hand side of your screen once you cast it, but also when her passive kicks in. So Koumei's passive basically highlights one of your weapons to deal extra status, basically. For lack of a better way to put it, every 60 seconds, one of Koumei's weapons will inflict a random status effect for 60 seconds. So as long as you're using said weapon that is highlighted, granted that means you have to keep track of what weapon is being highlighted, you will reduce the cooldown by 4 seconds when you kill an enemy with that weapon. So basically, you can blast right through that cooldown as long as you're using the passively highlighted weapon. That is fucking huge, okay? That is absolutely enormous for Koumei users. I can't possibly see anybody who enjoys playing Koumei not liking this augment. So, just putting that one out there. No real need to play this because it's just here, look, you know, passive highlighted thing. Just saying. Excuse me, Qorvex. So, Qorvex has an extremely intriguing augment. And I've seen people, again, Facebook and Reddit, kind of going hit or miss on this. Now, the two, like, normally I'm not a big fan of topaz shards, okay? But it's like, all of a sudden, these motherfuckers are 100% ready for Qorvex. So getting increased ability damage by radiation statuses, right? I mean, this is enough so that I haven't even tried to get another Tau Forge. I literally got these in drops. You know, I think this was Temporal Archimedean, and I think this was Calendar, or vice versa. One of the two. Can't remember. Either way, having a couple of these on here really makes Qorvex pretty damn solid, you know, just as a basic function. And I'm going to explain. I'm using the base kit, okay? Thinking about how this goes, yes, you can use Wrecking Wall. Wrecking Wall is a little weird. Okay? There's another one. Excuse me. There's another helmet ability that you can actually throw on here in its place. It's a slower function, but I got a feeling it'll work. And I probably should have tested it before I'm even opening my mouth about this. But Ophanim Eyes from Jade. Like, it just, something speaks to me as it's an armor strip, it's an enemy slow, and it's a heat procer that just says it's not quite as goofy as Wrecking Wall as far as terrain, and it basically just follows your reticle and, you know, has basically like a cone effect to it. So basically a line of sight effect. Well, as does Wrecking Wall. Wrecking Wall, the only difference is Wrecking Wall just groups enemies. So, what this new augment does, and I have 2 builds, and yeah, you can see I've got an unranked. It's fine. Okay. 10 stacks of radiation. You have a 10% chance to get a universal orb on an enemy death. That happens a lot with this. Now, do you need the 2 Umbra Forma? Absolutely not. It's actually probably a little inhibiting in some ways. There's some... This really works. So, you can either go with a buttload of energy right from the get with Arcane Battery, but this does leave you basically relying on Arcane Universal Fallout and Equilibrium and potentially a companion to help you with the upkeep of energy. And believe me when I tell you, without Streamline, this motherfucker just blasts through energy. It's okay, because most things die. But basically, Force Crucible, this actually makes the first ability work. The Shrinkra or the Shink... How the fuck you pronounce that bullshit? Shrinker. Anyway, this actually makes the it makes this useful, in my opinion, because up to this point, these pillars have just been, honestly, an annoyance. Throw a couple of them down. Excuse me. Slow some enemies down, and that's about as good as it gets, right? Just saying. That's about as good as it gets. It just slows some enemies down and procs them with a very minimal amount of radiation damage. Well, Force Crucible now basically does 2 things. One, it turns his Crucible Blast, which is the 4th ability, into a channeled ability, consuming 20 energy, and it ramps up, okay, which is why I said it really, really plows through shit. But while active, the pillars trigger chain reactions, and their duration is frozen. So basically, as long as there's something dying, the fucking timer on these just stops. Now, yeah, it says mobility greatly reduced. Think of Mesa's Waltz. Same shit, okay? You move, can't really do anything else. Just saying. Like, you can't... Yeah, I'll show you. So, this is build number 1. Survivability is a bit on a premium if you're not getting good universal orb drops, or if you don't have a companion basically helping to buff you. Not to say that you'll just immediately die, but you can definitely take some damage, and it gets a little sketchy at times. The other one you can go for, kind of similar. I mean, pretty much the same fucking build, let's be honest. I mean, here, Crusher, I mean, look, it's literally the same shit. Just no equilibrium. Reason being is because we have Arcane Energize. Now, this one does limit you to the fact of kind of have to pop in and out of the 4th ability a little bit, so Universal Fallout isn't necessarily what you need. You could go with something like Arcane Blessing and just build up a shit ton of fucking health instead, and that will actually give you a big buffer to survive some blasting hits, because with this much fucking armor, I mean, we're almost, you know, I mean, we're just above 88%, so I mean, either one of these builds works, okay? But the big thing is armor. Armor is a problem. When it comes to radiation, armor is just a fucking problem. I mean, look at this. You know, with fucking 1,239 motherfucking... Yeah. So, gotta group these bitches. Okay, so now they have no armor. Now we're gonna just drop a pillar here, right? That was a pulse. Now you'll notice, look up there. You are invulnerable. And yes, the energy starts up burning like a motherfucker. And this is your movement. Like, this is as good as it gets. Like, you can do that. That's about as good as it gets. Now, do I need anything crazy with this? No. Look at this. The fucking pillar just goes nuts. Once you start proccing radiation damage, it's just fucking game over. But, you know, I mean, look, we got universal health orbs over here, universal health orb over there. I mean, like, even an unranked Arcane Universal Fallout absolutely does the fucking job. Okay? Really, really does. You just armor strip them, hit them a little bit, and watch the chain reaction of doom. They just die. Same, we got another universal orb over there. So, yeah, I mean... this is kind of impressive for what Qorvex was doing. Now, am I going to use this actively? Probably not. The reason is the upkeep. That's just the truth of it. The upkeep and the... somebody goes shoot me in my ass when I can't move very well. Because, like, in the shards is parkour velocity. It just helps if you try to hit the dodge. It helps you scoot a little bit. That's about it. So it's nothing, like, this is a really, really good combo of augments. And it's really devastating. But you do have the function of armor problems, and if you're going to stick with Wrecking Wall, then obviously the lesser energy build, more range build is actually more beneficial. Like I said, though, something tells me like something like Ophinum Eyes would actually probably work pretty damn good with this, because then you're not worried about terrain issues. Everything's going to be basically, you know, line of sight to your reticle, and you're going to be slowing enemies down and taking their armor and blowing them up. And the thing is like, you don't have to be shooting at a pillar. Like, you could have two pillars behind you and shoot and kill people, and those pillars start blowing motherfuckers up behind you. So if you position yourself well, you can nuke the shit out of an area of the map, because as long as those pillars still have time on them, they're just going to keep killing shit. So this is a very, very interesting augment, and a very, I think, bonus to what Qorvex really probably should have been from the get. But, I mean, you know, here we are with, you know, augments, which are most of the time band-aids, but that's fine. So, we go to Wisp. Now, Wisp is an interesting one. Let me, augment. So, basically, I've gone with almost completely my normal build, okay? Except for a bunch of duration. Like, kind of changed a few things around, like, you know, Archon Stretch, you know, a little bit of energy regen, you know, like Vitality and Intensify here aren't the necessity, but they're nice to get a good stack out of them. And I've just run this silly-ass build for, or, you know, at least a variant of, because it's pretty much like this. You know, like, yeah. But what this does, okay, what this does is this is like a quick burst of two spectral clones, okay, that just pop up and give a blast of Soul Gate instead of it just being a channeled ability. And it drops like a little sun, okay? It just parks a sun. Okay, so with this, you can do up to 3 of these things. So, just to give you a little piece of just the silliness of this, okay? We'll just come over here and we'll do this. We'll just park a sun there. We'll just park a sun right here. Okay, see, they're not liking this shit at all. This is just the augment, and Breach Surge just chaining back and forth on each other like crazy. Now, if we come in here with electric, they're not a fan. This is actually the first time this hasn't killed them all. That's funny. Hi, everybody. That's funny. Oh, look. This one motherfucker right back in the back. But see, you get this cool little heat-emissive little sun. It actually makes Soulgate pretty funny for some general procking, priming, and generally a little bit of silly-ass CC work. So, it's a thing. It's useful. It makes Soulgate actually worth the shit using. It puts you in a position where you can, you know, if you're not a big fan of Will-O-Wisp, you can sub something into Will-O-Wisp instead, and, you know, like something like Roar, and really do some funny shit, or you can, you know, do many, many other things. But yeah, no, it's not a terrible augment. It's not, like, mind-breaking, but it's not terrible. So then we have Gyre. Now, this is, like, basically my normal build. The only difference in this build is that usually I run Augur Reach instead of Conductive Sphere. Okay, that's it. Just more range. So I sacrificed out a little bit of range for Conductive Sphere. And what this is it's Arc Sphere, so the first ability. So projectiles that pass through the Arc Sphere, which is, the Arc Sphere isn't just the ball, it's the whole big electrosphere, but projectiles that pass through that big sphere have a guaranteed electric status effect and a plus 75% electric damage buff. It's something, okay? Oh, what the fuck weapons do I have? Okay, yeah, here, we'll use the dual Torxica. How's that? So, yeah, it's a thing. Just come over here and drop this bitch right here and... And you can see the electric just stacking up on these motherfuckers. I mean, they do not like this. Like, this is nothing else in Gyre's kit working except for this. Yeah, but I'm just stacking up like just a fuck ton of electric stacks on these fuckheads. Okay, run out. Cool. That's... Come on. Stop. Stop it. Stop. Now, when you go through and you start applying things like, you know, some crazy bullshit like, you know, having pillage on here. As if Gyre wasn't good enough, giving her bullets that does this crazy bullshit, as well as her third and her fourth ability? Yeah. So my personal opinion, as far as making a frame exceptionally far more useful, the Koumei augment, without question. It really is. When you can just drag down per kill that just disgraceful fucking cooldown timer for her decrees, which I do understand why the cooldown timer is what it is. But to have more opportunity to get decrees with Koumei is probably the best of the augments. Gyre's is very good. Gyre's is just very good. Wisp's is really good, right? Wisp and Qorvex are really good. Like, I don't really feel like there's a bad augment that released with this update. I really don't. I just feel like, as far as frames I use, Gyre's is definitely the top, and then Wisp and Qorvex are kind of right there with each other, because Qorvex does have some upkeep issues, and personally, I just have more preferable builds that I use with Wisp, like a pure armor strip pillage build, or I have a nourish build if I'm doing like infested bullshit. You know, so it's just like, you know, I've got other builds with Wisp, so it's like, I look at this whole Soulgate bit, and I'm like, okay, well, if I'm, you know, kind of bottlenecked at the end of a hallway, yeah, this is a great priming ability, and it really fucks enemies up just by standing there. But I also have builds that just, you know, basically you just don't die, and, you know, you just electrocute people and shoot them, you know, and keep yourself well alive while you're doing it. But Gyre's is just devastating it, you know, in the right set of, you know, and the right group of enemies. It's a good time. So those are the augments. I've been having a fantastic time kind of playing around with the goofiness of especially the other three setups. Because like I said, the Koumei thing is just kind of a, oh, okay, this works with this frame. Koumei's just not really my cup of tea. Yeah, that's it. So folks, thanks very much for watching. As always, catch you in the next one, all right?